Hey guys, it's Angie, and considering that we have a spooky season, I was told that it could be a good idea to play this little game that I've been playing a lot, like an awful lot. It's called the Shrouded Isle, and it's a resource management sim with a cult and a Cthulhu-esque creature in the background. But first, you might notice that it has a bit similar color palette to the Return of the Obra Dinn. And similarly to that game, we can swap the colors. And I've been playing with the deeps because I really like this blue shade. But I think I will go for the Scorching Lights because it's more readable, I guess. And let's just proceed. 495 years ago, our founders saw that humanity would perish. There are sinners in our community. As the high priest, I must select a sinner to sacrifice every season. 5 years until Judgment Day. If we are free from sin, he will save us from his suffering. From this suffering. So you know the basics. We have to survive for 5 years. And by survive, I mean we have to keep every house maybe not satisfied, but relatively happy. And we need to keep every characteristic over here, over this one line. And here we have the families. Each family represents one of the characteristics. As you can see, House Cagney is responsible for ignorance. And they have a random number of family members and they have random traits themselves. They have one positive trait and one negative trait. The positive trait don't have to be what the family is responsible for. It can be a trait for a different type. Like for example, here we have Vadim, who is penitent, and here we have Chessie, who is ignorant. So basically, if we choose Chessie to represent the family this season, we will get additional points for ignorance whenever we choose her. But also, on the other hand, every family member has a negative trait, and it will negatively impact the corresponding trait. Like for example, Danica is undisciplined, and we don't know how much. So basically, if I choose her to represent the family and to do necessary task, her actions will negatively impact the discipline over here. But how do we know which trait is whose, I guess? Every season we get inquiries that we can use. In this case, we have two. Sometimes we have only one. So we will use the inquiry to ask about one of the family members. And for example, let's ask about Chessie, because I would like to ask her to be an advisor this season. But let's learn what's her negative trait. And as you can see, it has little -3 over here. It means that it will negatively impact the satisfaction meter and the happiness meter of this family. But -3 is not that big. I can take it. She's disobedient. So her trait will negatively impact obedience over here. Do I want to risk it? I'm not sure. To be honest, we have more points in the discipline right now, so I think I will also ask Danica what's her positive trait. And as you can see now that I ask for the second inquiry, there are more negative points over here, and if I choose, I mean, no matter which one I choose, I'll drop from House Cagney being satisfied to being neutral. So, but still, let's not ask for too much. She's ignorant. Okay, so let's appoint her because we'll get additional point for ignorance and we'll get something for the discipline. But hopefully we'll manage to select for another advisor somebody who has discipline. And again, if they have a positive trait in a different trait that's their families, then you can get additional points. It's usually less than you would have if it was their main trait, but still, sometimes it's very useful to have somebody who will add to both, for example, ignorance and obedience. Okay, so here we are done for now. We have one letter, so let's read what's up. Your Excellency, the spirits tell me you are cursed to misfortune, but do not despair. Show favor to House Blackbourne to escape this doom. A concerned citizen. This is not very nice to say that I have this. And I have two choices. Show public favor to House Blackbourne, and they will like it, of course. And demand House Blackbourne reveal who sent the letter. It may, I don't know what exactly this can do. It may have some negative impact, but let's try this. Let's surprise ourselves. It was Dusha. I think it's Dusha, and it's funny because Dusha in Polish means soul. And she's haunted, and she has a very good bonus to ignorance. But House Blackbourne is known for obedience, so that might be not ideal, but then again, plus 15 in the positive trait is the maximum that the person can have. Minor traits are usually like plus 5, which is barely anything. Medium traits are like plus 10, so it's between plus 5 and plus 10. While the negative traits can be from, I think, minus 5 up to minus 20, and this is just not good. Okay, we have House Josefka, and their main responsibility is fervor, I think. And also I have 2 inquiries, so let's see what we have. Neda, who is full of fervor, so theoretically she would be the best to pick for being an advisor. But the thing is, one of the advisors I will have to sacrifice by the end of the season. So I need to also look for somebody who would be a good target. They are satisfied, and they are very satisfied. I'm feeling good with asking them hard questions. Let's try Miko, because he's lacking fervor. It's not very good if your responsibility is the same trait as your negative trait, because then whenever you are chosen to represent the family, you may bring negative effects instead of any positive effects. He's gentle and he has minus 20, so shit. Oh wait, no, I forgot. The negative traits go not to minus 20, but minus 30. And usually those are very serious sins, and we don't want that. We need to appoint somebody. I will have an option to ask inquiries during the season. So I will choose Bogdan. It's also a beautiful Polish name. I'm not sure if it's exactly Polish, but it's pretty popular. It used to be very popular in Poland. Okay, Cadwell is neutral and they are at 0. So compared to Josefka, which is at plus 41, but they are not many here. And they are discipline. Okay, let's check Nadia. Beautiful hat. Unrepentant. Let's appoint her too. As you can see, I'm not appointing anybody I mean, I appointed the first, from the Kegni family. She has high ignorance, and I should be appointing people to represent those traits that I have pretty low. So penitence and obedience would be good. You are unrepentant. Oh, you are both unrepentant. Okay, I need to change that. But you are obedient. Let's change this. Maybe let's change to Maria. And we'll try to discover her negative trait, because that will be very important. Penitence knows too much. Okay, let's see what Zania's positive trait is. Full of fervor, also not very good. And Eden, penitent. Okay, so let's appoint you, because I will need you to bring this trait a bit higher. And oh, you are haunted. And obedience, only 4 people in this house. I will have to be pretty careful when sacrificing them. But I have 2 inquiries, that's good. And they are satisfied, they're at plus 25. So I'll probably bring them down to neutral, which isn't ideal also. But we'll see. Right now, I would be very cautious about sacrificing somebody from Cadwell family, because they'll drop to disappointment, disapproval, dissatisfaction, something like that. While when I have families that are pretty high, like satisfied, I would say I would prefer to sacrifice somebody from those 2 houses, because then I wouldn't risk the rebellion. But let's see. I'll have to see who might be sacrificed this season. And let's try you. Okay. I will appoint you, and I will pray that you don't have a very negative trait. So, okay, let's begin first season. As you can see, 3 months, 3 rounds where we elect advisors to perform, let's say. And let's start. I can select 1 or up from 1 to 3, but depending on how many people I select, as you can see, the approval that they will receive will be smaller or higher. And as you can see, also this affects the effect of the trait. As you can see, it's getting smaller and smaller. So I would say that usually appointing 2 people is like a safe middle ground. So let's try appointing, maybe let's try with you instead of Maria, because I want to learn her trait, and maybe I want to discover his trait, but also I want to bring up the penitence. So, but she's undisciplined, so she'll bring down the discipline over here. Also, average outcome. Danica scourged the town and found 1 old world book to burn in ritual fire. It's okay. It can be better. Usually, the result here might be, if it's positive, between 2 and 7. I never got anything higher, I think. Maybe I did, I don't remember. And here, but there you have the effect of the positive trait and the effect of the negative trait. So I can now begin the inquiry and ask about their vice. As you can see, it will have an effect on the satisfaction, but I'll do it anyway. She's generous. It's called minor vice, but I would say it's still a pretty significant. I could inquire about her virtue, but let's just leave it at that for now. Let's try the next result. It's Eden. He had an average outcome in flagellate sinners. His virtue brought something up with the penitence, but not much. And he is low in fervor. But let's dig a bit deeper. He's lazy. It's still not too bad, but I don't like -20. It's too much for my liking, but it's not enough to sacrifice them. And as you can see, each round, the satisfaction of those that were not performing dropped, but those that were performing got a little bit higher. I mean, even if I sacrificed Eden this round, they would drop from satisfied to neutral, so that's not too bad. Now I'll try with the Blackborn and Yosefka. And let's check. Let's see how it goes. She's disobedient, so that's not good. But then on the other hand, the guy from the house Blackborn is for obedience, so he'll bring it up a bit, but not too much, because his positive trait, virtue, is not connected to his family trait, to his family responsibility. Okay, so let's begin and ask her about her vice. Cynical. Again, not too bad, but I don't like it. He had an average outcome in investigating heresy. He brought up a bit of... but he dropped in fervor very much. So because they are neutral, let's... it will... As you can see, because the fervor turned red, it will affect this characteristic, but let's risk it. I can then ask the lady from Yosefka family to bring it up a bit. Hermit, -20. Not good. Oh no. Yeah, and oh no, this might be not a good idea what I did just there. Because if I ask the lady from House Yosefka to bring up some fervor, she'll drop my obedience, because I remember she was disobedient, right? Oh no. We are left with House Cadwell. He's bringing up obedience a bit, so maybe it will work. I'm afraid that obedience might fall a lot. Oh well. Worst case scenario, we'll work on it next season. She brought average outcome, brought up a bit of fervor, she brought a bit of discipline, and she dropped our obedience a lot. I could ask her again for her, this time for her virtue, but I think it will affect the obedience again, and I don't want to do that. Oh, he had a great outcome in discipline, +7. And he brought some points to obedience, but I don't know how much. And he affected the penitence. So because they are neutral, -17, that's a lot. I don't want, and they will be dissatisfied. Should I ask it? I mean, let's try. Let's just do it. He's stubborn. That's not too bad. And it affected obedience, and it brought it up a bit. So that's okay. Okay. And this was our last. This was our last month, right? And now I have to pick a sacrifice. And like I said, I think the best choice, everybody's -20 or -10. I was pretty unlucky because usually in my place I managed to find somebody with a major vice in my first round. This time I wasn't so lucky. But because, like I said, we had House Efferson very high with the satisfaction level, I will sacrifice him. My penitence will drop. Fervor will grow. Or what do you have? Discipline, cynical. You are also pretty satisfied, and if I sacrifice her, my obedience will grow, but my discipline will fall. But as you can see, I have very high discipline, so it won't be a tragedy. My fervor is pretty weak also. Whatever, let's try. Yes, and we are doing the sacrifice. You're welcome. Okay, we sacrificed the life of Maria in the name of Chernobog and the good of our people. Our condolences to House Yosefka. Sacrifice for minor sin. House Yosefka simmers with quiet resentment. House Yosefka approval -50. If it were a major sin, they would be like more understanding. Still, their satisfaction would drop, but not as much. As you can see, other houses are relatively happy with the outcome, not too much. So basically now everybody apart from Efferson I have on neutral. This is a pretty safe ground unless you have to sacrifice somebody with a minor vice, then it's bad luck. And this is my first dream. My faithful servant, I await your devotion. Encourage fervor, burning flame of devotion. The morbid one, give him to me. And as you can see, now the required amount of fervor was brought up. Usually the god chooses one of the traits as his, let's say, favorite this season, and he will ask us to be more mindful of it, let's say. So basically I will probably choose everybody that had any inclination toward fervor, but he also asked to find the morbid one. And as you can see, if I go here, it shows me what improves and what hinders the result, the number of this trait. Like, for example, ignorance is improved by being haunted, superstitious, uneducated, dull, but it's hindered by being an artist, by being a scholar, by being imaginative. So, yeah. The bolded ones, so the haunted and superstitious, bring the most bonus, additional points, and artist and scholar, because they are also bolded, they give the most negative points, and they are considered a major vice. So let's see, where's the morbid one? Fervor. So on one hand, I would have to find people who have inclination for fervor to bring this characteristic up, but then again, I have to check everybody who has vice in fervor to check if they are morbid. So I will in begin inquiry, and I will ask people about their negative traits. Disobedient. Okay, so you will not die this time. But don't see anybody who has any inclination for fervor. So, and I have pretty high discipline, so let's appoint Wendelin as our next advisor. Hopefully it will turn out she has any cool stuff, I don't know. Okay, fervor. It would be preferable to find somebody here to be full of fervor. As you can see, we already know that Miko is gentle. He is not the person we are looking for. Although he has a negative trait in the fervor, it's not morbid. And we have you neutral at +2, so let's not be too nosy. Sadist, yes, very good, I love it. She will give us a lot of positive, she'll give us a lot of points for fervor, so basically I'll probably won't have to look for many people to support this trait this time. Oh, we don't have many, and as you can see that now I have usually one inquiry. Let's check Vasilia. Disobedient. Okay, this is not what we are looking for. And let's appoint, we have pretty high discipline, so we do not require people with discipline that much, but I would say stubborn. Let's try, Miri might be a bit Miri might be a bit risky because we have no idea what she likes and what she dislikes. So let's go with Vasilia, I guess. Knows too much, full of fervor, lazy. Okay, and we have 2 inquiries here. And House Everson is pretty satisfied, so I feel pretty good with asking you. Cowardly. This is not what we were looking for, but this is still a major vice, so it might be useful later. But right now, let's appoint... This is a pretty good situation, because I know, because she is full of fervor, so she cannot be lacking fervor. Similarly, Zanya. And I know that these 2 guys have already a bad trait with ignorance. So let's appoint, but it's penitence, okay. I have relatively high ignorance, so I guess we can appoint you. Come on, work. Oh no, what if full of fervor? Okay, let's try. Let's see what you have. Undisciplined. That's not very good. Penitent and a hermit. I don't like it. I don't like it because I suspect that she might be the one, or there might be somebody here, because here I have 2 people that we have no idea what their negative traits are. Here's a lot of people. It might, I mean, I was about to say it might turn out that Neda, but no. Oh, we have a lot of people to ask what's their deal. Okay, but let's choose a advisor here. Obedience. I will take you because I know that you won't affect obedience, because I'm not sure if Kasmira isn't like disobedient, and that would be a very bad combo. But you know what? I will go with this next season next time, because I already talked a lot and I already told you a lot of information, and I already talked for like half an hour. So I need to take a breather, and I will get back to it soon. But right now, thank you so much for watching, and I would really appreciate if you could like my video and subscribe or share it with anybody that could like my videos, please. Thank you. I've never asked for this, and now it feels weird when I do. But anyway, thank you. Bye.